If you're thinking about moving to McKinney or anywhere in North Texas, there are some things that you can legally do here that shock a lot of my out-of-state buyers. And I'm not just talking about lifestyle, I'm talking about things that can impact your money, your home, and your long-term strategy. I have moved my family across the country twice, and the second time I landed here in McKinney. I discovered that there are laws in this state that you could even save you over $14,000 a year. Most buyers don't find out about these things until after they've already closed, so don't be that person. Hi, I'm Denise Spiridesco, and I'm a local real estate expert here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and I specialize helping buyers relocate and make smart, confident decisions when moving to McKinney. I've done this myself twice, and I know how it feels to pick up everything, leave your network behind, and try to figure out a brand new state. And McKinney? McKinney is genuinely different. It's not just the culture, the laws, the homeownership rights, and the financial advantages. Some of these things even shocked me, and I've lived here long enough to raise my two boys in McKinney. So today I'm breaking down 10 things that are very different here, and a few of these could be completely change how you think about your move. So let's get into it. Number one, no state income tax. So let's start with the one thing that everyone has heard, but very few people fully understand. Texas has no state income tax, zero. So for my clients relocating from the East and West Coast and right in the Midwest, this is where they start doing the math on their phones mid-conversation. We're talking about potentially saving tens of thousands of dollars per year, depending on your income bracket. But, and this is very important, that money doesn't just disappear. McKinney, Texas still has to fund schools, roads, and services. So instead of taxing your income, McKinney, Texas leans more heavily on property taxes. So the real question is, do I save money? It's where does my money go and how do I control it? And that answer is coming in the next two topics because McKinney, Texas actually gives you tools to fight back on your property taxes that most states don't offer. And this is where I always tell my clients, don't look at just one line item, look at your entire financial picture. What are you paying now in state income tax? And what will you pay in property taxes? What kind of home are you buying and how does that impact your long-term cost? I've had clients move here and they still come out ahead financially, even with higher property taxes, simply because of how much they are paying in state income taxes before. So this isn't just a headline benefit, this is something we actually map out together so you can make a smart, informed decision. Number two, homestead exemption. This is the one that is most important and most missed. Things that you can do after buying a home in McKinney. Is your home a primary residence? Can you file what is called a homestead exemption? Under Texas tax code, the standard exemption removes up to $100,000 from your home appraised value for school district taxes alone. Depending on your tax rate here in Collin County, that can translate to $1,200 to $2,000 in annual savings. So here's my story. When I moved here, I almost missed filing the deadline my first year. I didn't know it wasn't automatic, and it would have cost me some real money later that year or in the following years. So if you're relocating, this is a non-negotiable. File in the moment that you close. This reduces your taxable home value, lowers your school district tax bill, and caps how fast your assessed value increases each year, up to 10% maximum once you file. This is one of those set it and forget it moves that pays you back every single year that you own the home. And what I love about this is it's not complicated once you know about it. It's a simple step that can have long-term impact. And for homeowners, this becomes part of their strategy, not just something that they do once, but something they understand and build it into how they manage their home over time. So when I work with buyers, I'm not just helping you close on a home, I'm helping you understand what to do after you close so that you're set up financially the right way from the beginning. Number three, you can protest your property taxes, and this one surprises everyone, and I mean everyone. In Texas, you can have the legal right to protest your property tax value every single year. Every single year. If Collin County Appraisal District assesses your home higher than what the comparable sales support, you can challenge it. You submit your comps, photos, documentation, and if you make a solid case, you can reduce your tax bill. This lets the appraisal office know what is not correct with your evaluation. I've helped clients save hundreds to over $300,000 reduction in appraised value in one single protest. Or there are services here that will do it for you, some on contingency, meaning they'll only get paid if you win. And I can direct you to those competent companies. Submit comparable recent resales in your neighborhood, provide documentation of needed repairs or condition issues, request an informal hearing with the appraisal district. That's it. Escalate your appraisal to the review board if needed. If this is not something you can do in most states, it's a right that Texas homeowners have, and the smart ones do it every year. And this is where I see a huge difference between homeowners who understand the system and those who don't. Because the ones who understand it, they use it every year. They look at their valuation, they compare it to the market, and they take action if something doesn't look right. And even if you don't want to do it yourself or get help from me, there are services that will do it for you. So this becomes less about, can I do this, and more about, am I taking advantage of something that is available to me? And that's a mindset shift for a lot of people relocating here. So hey, real quick, I created a relocation checklist, including the exact steps for your homestead exemption and how to protest your taxes. Just drop Texas in the comment below and I'll send it to you. Now back to our program. So number 4, permitless carry laws. Texas allows eligible individuals to carry a handgun without a permit. Now, regardless of your personal stance on this, it's something that can feel very different depending on where you're coming from. And it's important to understand, not just legally, but from a day-to-day awareness standpoint. As someone who relocated from a state with very different laws, I remember this being one of the first cultural moments where I thought, okay, Texas really is different. There are regulations about age, school, businesses, and prior records that are important for you to understand ahead of time. It's part of the independent, self-reliant culture that runs deep here. And for a lot of buyers I work with, especially families moving from larger metro areas, it can take a little adjustment. Neither good nor bad, it's just different and worth knowing before you arrive. And again, this is just about awareness. When you're moving to a new state, it's not about the home, it's about understanding the environment that you're stepping into. And this one is one of those differences that people notice quickly, especially if they're coming from areas that have very different laws. Number 5, vehicle rules feel simpler. If you're coming from a state with strict annual emission testing, lengthy DMV appointments, or complex registration system, Texas is going to feel very different. Texas has significantly simplified its vehicle inspection requirements. In recent years, as of 2025, personal vehicle safety inspections are no longer required in most counties. For buyers moving from California, especially where smog checks and registration processes can take for hours, this is one of those small quality of life upgrades that adds up fast. Always verify current requirements at the Texas DMV website, as rules can be updated annually. And what I hear from clients all the time is it just feels easier. Less time dealing with inspections, less time dealing with paperwork, and less frustration overall. And when you're already going through a move, which can be very stressful, these little things really make a difference. Number 6, growth and development speed. If you've driven through McKinney recently, you've probably noticed everything is growing fast. And the one main reason for that is McKinney has streamlined regulatory environment for development compared to many other states. What that means is less red tape, new communities, no infrastructure, new retail can come online faster. For buyers, this translates to real advantages. More new construction inventory available with modern floor plans, open layouts, and smart home features. New schools, parks, and retail following the growth. Competitive builder incentives in new communities as well. This is one of the big reasons I love showing relocating buyers around McKinney specifically. You can find newer homes, something that's nearly impossible in older, fully built out cities, say from the East and West Coast. And what that means for you as a buyer, you're not just buying a home, you're buying into a growing area. You're seeing new businesses come in, new schools being built, new infrastructure supporting that growth. Number 7, more property freedom. depending on where you buy, and this matters. McKinney can offer significantly more flexibility in how you use your property. In unincorporated areas or properties without restrictive HOAs, that can include things like backyard chickens, workshops, detached structures, and more, without the permit battles that you may face in other states. Now, I always say to check specifically the city rules and HOAs before you buy. McKinney and the surrounding areas each have their own regulations. But for buyers who are right-sizing or want land and some independence, this flexibility is one of the things that makes McKinney, Texas genuinely different. If property freedom is a priority to you, tell me before we start touring. I can narrow down the search properties where you will have the most latitude. And this is where I always tell buyers, let's define what freedom means to you. So number 8, no state transfer tax. Here's a big one that catches out-of-state buyers off guard. Throughout Texas, there is no state-level real estate transfer tax. In states like New York and Illinois, Pennsylvania, this tax can add up to thousands of dollars on your closing cost, either as a buyer or a seller. Here, that line simply doesn't exist at the state level. There are still closing costs in McKinney, title, surveys, lender fees, selling fees, but this is one area where McKinney, Texas is generally more favorable than most states. And while this might not be the most exciting topic, it's one of the behind-the-scenes financial benefits that adds up. Number 9, seller's disclosures are different. McKinney, Texas does require seller's disclosure, but they may not be as extensive as what you're used to in other states. And this one caught me off guard when I first bought here. What that means for you as a buyer, you need to lean heavily on your own due diligence. Inspections matter more here. Understanding the property's condition before you close matters here. This is exactly where having a knowledgeable local agent becomes a difference between a smooth move and an expensive surprise. Always get a full home inspection, not just a general one. Consider sewer scope and foundations if the home is older, and inspect for pests as well. Ask your agent specifically what is and what is not disclosed by law. Budget for a few $1,000s just in case of the contingency for post-inspection discoveries. I walk every one of my relocation buyers through this process in detail because the rules are different, and I don't want you learning the hard way. And this is why I always slow things down during the inspection phase, because this is where we really dig in. You're not just checking boxes, we're making sure you fully understand what you're buying. Number 10, structure or freedom. You choose. One of the things I genuinely love about Texas real estate, and in McKinney in particular, is the range of choices. You can choose a master plan community with resort-style amenities, walking trails, community pools, HOA guidelines that keep everything looking sharp. Or you can choose a property with no HOA, more land, fewer restrictions, and more control over how you live. Most states, the built-out areas have rules, the rural areas have distance. McKinney has neighborhoods where you can have it both ways, newer construction community feel, but without the HOA, micro management. And that's where a combination is rarely found elsewhere. So if you're not sure which lifestyle fits you, that's literally where I can help my clients figure out first before we ever look at a single house. And this is one of my favorite conversations to have with clients, because there's no one size fits all for your life. And here's the bottom line. These aren't just interesting facts. They're things that will impact your finances, your daily life, and your long-term strategy as a homeowner here. When I moved to McKinney, Texas, I wish somebody had handed me a guide that explained all of this before I closed. So I made one. It's called the McKinney Texas Relocation Guide, 10 things you should know before you move. And it covers everything we've talked about today, plus what to expect in your first 90 days here. If you want a copy, reach out. I'll send it to you. No strings attached. Hi, I'm Denise Baradesco, and if you're thinking about moving to McKinney or anywhere in North Texas, I'd love to help you build that plan that actually fits your life. And if you're in the stage where you're just starting to explore, this is exactly the time to start asking questions. Because the more you understand up front, the better experience you're going to have once you get here. So drop McKinney in the comments for my free relocation guide. And remember to like, subscribe, if this helped you. And feel free to share this with somebody who is also thinking about making the move. I'll see you on the next one.